from Bald and Bonkers Network, we would like to remind everybody that certain topics of discussion may not be comfortable for all listeners. Certain viewpoints may not reflect those of our partners, sponsors, affiliates, our hosts, or that of our guests. We would like to encourage everybody to keep a respectful and open climate of discussion for all topics, no matter how disturbing they may be. So viewer discretion is advised.
Discoveries mankind has ever experienced.
And that is why we bring you the Bald and Bonkers Show.
Baby, you can get on my boat and make it rock, yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Bald and Bonkers. You have Chris and Dakota here with our dear friend Moonblade. And tonight is definitely going to be a subject that will definitely, it doesn't cause any technological glitches while we're trying to talk about it, I'm going to be very shocked.
Well, you know, I just noticed he changed my name there, ladies and gentlemen. It's as usual, it's as usual. But now that I've got a new computer desk, I can quite happily change a name, you know. That's fine.
I was trying to warn you before we went in.
See, he's terrible, isn't he? He's terrible, ladies and gentlemen. So, Aaron, how are you, my friend? Because I know you've had a kind of traumatic kind of week. I hope you're healing and I hope you're feeling better.
I'm feeling really good, and thank you. I am healing up very well.
Yeah. It's a very interesting show we've got tonight. Especially with the World War II stuff. We don't really talk about this and stuff, you know, like the UFOs that were sighted in World War II with the Germans, with the British, the Americans, and obviously the Japanese. But first I would like to say to everybody in the chat, thank you everybody for coming, and honestly for all the likes and all the views that we've been getting to, I would honestly like to say thank you very much. Dakota, would you like to say anything about that while we're here?
I do want to give a shout out to the promotional company that we've been working with. Nearly every single one of our channels has been getting higher and higher numbers. It's not why we do it,
yes,
but those numbers help us attract a lot bigger guests and try to help get a lot of the bigger projects we want to get put together. And it's just thank you. Like I said, every single one of our channels is getting a boost, and we go out to almost 60-plus destinations.
But that company is phenomenal. I mean, we're not going to name the names, but so these are kind of, you know, the people that are trying to copy us and stuff like that. You know, better not tell them who we're actually dealing with. But they've done amazing. They've been sharing their videos out. They've been helping us. They've been, oh my God, they've been getting us views. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. So without a word of ado, would we like to jump straight into the World War II stuff? What shall we dive into first, dear fellas?
Well, this is pretty much a pretty wide topic, and the one reason I suggested it is because I'm starting to believe we're seeing a lot of parallels nowadays to what they saw just before the Second World War. Now, Is it coincidence? Am I saying we're about to go through even more trouble? It's the 2020s.
Right.
Let's
I tell you what.
spin the wheel.
Right. Let's just start it off. Hitler, Antarctica. Let's bring up his picture. Right. Here we go. We've got Hitler. We've got the Nazi Party. We've got Antarctica. Quite an interesting place, Antarctica. Wouldn't you say, lads? I mean, it's the US military after the war sent a fleet there, which come back. Well, some of it come back, as you know. What's your thoughts on this, Aaron? What's your thoughts on Antarctica and the Nazis?
So we're going to talk about Antarctica. We got to go back, quite a few thousand years to when Antarctica. And the reason how we know this is there was a map detailed in, was it 1400s or like BC, or it was a long time ago where they depicted Antarctica's landmass up towards Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lush area. It was full of life back then, and by some means, what science says is the tectonic plates moved it. Which, I mean, that, can be true. There could be other reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But it migrated down to the pole.
Yes. I mean, what was it? It was around about, 400,000 years ago when the poles flipped, did they know? Am I correct here? Yeah, right.
So we know that something existed there because of this map. Now we fast forward, so whatever was there, I believe is still there.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen quite a few shows on Antarctica and the thing. There's actually no fly zones in over certain parts of Antarctica. So whatever was there I feel is still there.
Oh yeah.
The Nazis made an expedition down there of before World War II, and it said that they had set up a base of operations down there. I really feel that they connected with whatever beings were there, and they made some kind of pact.
Yes.
Now after World War II. And this is where a lot of testing, there's been a lot of, speculation about testings down there about, there was a, what are those, freaks called from a plane? When you're up high enough and you're going fast enough that you're heating up the air around you, and you chemtrail, but it's not a chemtrail.
Chemtrails. Chemtrails. You're talking about chemtrails. Condensation trails, yeah. Yeah,
condensation trails. There is a picture of a condensation trail. Now, these things disappear within a matter of, maybe an hour or less. After as things cool back down, the condensation trail, disappears.
Yeah.
So there's a picture taken of the Earth. I want to say it's a satellite image, and it's around between the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
And there's a chemtrail that is going from Antarctica to North Pole.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that.
Within a matter of so you're talking less than an hour time. So I feel that these are real.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've seen them in the skies when fighter jets.
Yeah. I mean, chemtrails are definitely real. I mean, everybody for years would tell people, "Oh, chemtrails, you're all out there. These things don't exist. People are no spraying. They're no spraying. And now it's actually coming out. It's actually coming out that the aluminum particles in the atmosphere are extremely high. So where did they come from? Where did all this aluminum come from? And it's coming through like weather manipulation. That's what they think it is. But I think it's got something to do with Antarctica itself. I mean, and you know about the ancient cities that are meant to be there, the ancient missions that are meant to have, the missions with the US government, for instance, have went to Antarctica and they've found these ancient structures under the ice. I mean, what was it, 300,000 years ago, 400,000 years ago? It was a subtropical island.
Yeah.
Bigger than Australia, right? Just for people listening to this, it was bigger than Australia. And it was subtropical. And, the things that are hidden there, this is what I find mysterious and strange, right? To this modern day, you're not allowed to go there unless you're escorted. And then you're only allowed to go to a certain point, right? You know? See, there's my co-host again doing that. See, that's terrible. Change that back. That's terrible. But this is the thing, right? I mean, you're putting me off the start here, right? But I definitely think the Nazis did find something, and I think it was something that was given to them before the war broke out. What's your thoughts on that, Anne?
I very much can resonate with that belief. Because soon after, now we've all heard stories of the Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters are what American or Allied pilots called these structures that we would fly next to them, buzz them, and fly off.
I have them. Here. There we go.
Perfect vintage World War II picture. Where the arrows are pointing in that, those are what the Allies called Foo Fighters, because they were unable to be completely identified, and they would continually buzz, especially the Allied, but they also buzzed the Nazi planes too. Now to this day, we don't, and I can say that I don't know if they were beings from other areas, or if these were the Nazi UFOs.
Yeah. I mean, what's your thoughts on this, Dakota?
Those Foo Fighters were allegedly plasma-based craft, and with some of the allegations about alien technology, they could be psychic projections that were technologically enhanced. And maybe it was someone that was trying to level the odds, because with these Foo Fighters in particular, they tried shooting them, all the bullets would go through. Allied planes have even tried flying into these things, only for them to fly straight through whatever charges these things, causing electromagnetic disturbances and bringing those aircraft down.
Well, this picture here is actually German. This one's German. This is from the German side. This is nearing the end of the war. This is 1944. I would say autumn. I think that's when it was, when the German pilots captured this. I mean, you can clearly see with the one on the left that it's a triangle. It's like a white light triangle. But the best one that I downloaded tonight was one, I think you'll like this. It's a little ball chasing after the American bombers over the Pacific, which I find very interesting. What's your thoughts, Anne?
Well, we've always known that beings are very much drawn to any type of war.
Yes.
there's differences of opinions online. Um, I feel that it's wanting to keep an eye, making sure that an extinction level event does not happen.
See, that's right. I agree with you there, but I agree that there's life forms that have been on this earth, intelligent life forms that have been on this earth long before we've been here. Yeah, and there's some live below the surface. There's some that did live at one point in Antarctica. People have heard of the Atlantis and stuff like that. And I think that's when they kind of hid under the sea, they went to the Pacific. Because they say the Pacific is notorious for like UFOs. USOs they're called, coming out of the water, chasing after like jets. I mean, you just need to look at the one that the US military released. With this thing they're trying to catch. That was real? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't real, I don't know. But I'll tell you something, there's beings that have been on this world long before we were here. Yes, we were here, we were probably monkeys or something like that. But honestly, I think Antarctica holds the key. And I think eventually, I mean, everything's melting now. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, and there's already been pictures posted of pyramids found
That's right.
in Antarctica. I was watching, I can't remember the show, but it was about a military guy who went and did a tour down in Antarctica to help out down there or something. And upon one of the flights, he had witnessed a hole in the ice.
That's right. What was his name? Was it Admiral something? What was his name? Was it Admiral, was it Burns or what was his name? Oh, that's going to annoy me now.
I can look it up.
Anybody in the chat, what was the name of the guy that flew over the hole in Antarctica? That's meant to be the way into the hollow earth. Oh, it's one of the ones. Dakota, come on, use your vast knowledge. That's that.
Something like
that's
that.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's stuff. I think there's something there, and they're still there, and I think they're where it is. I think they see us as a pest, to be purely honest with you. Who's that? Sally Star, child, Bird? Thank you very much. I think they see us as a pest. I mean, what's your thoughts, Dakota? Honestly, you're an extraterrestrial. You've lived in this planet longer than we've lived on here, right? You've lived under the ground, and then you start seeing us humans playing about with fireworks, nuclear weapons, and what's your first thoughts? They're like, oh no.
Oh, is that for me?
Oh, yeah, that was for you.
I don't know. He kind of jumped around there. I got confused.
I was reading the chat. Sorry.
I'll say names, no, it's okay. So, what's your honest, like, what's your thoughts? Right, you're an extraterrestrial. You've came. Well, you're an extraterrestrial. You've came here a long time ago. This is your home now, and then the humans have started playing with the atom and bombs and planes.
I know that the beings that have been here before humans. Now, to me, in my view, this isn't the humans' first go around on the planet.
Oh no, it's the third time.
It's like the fourth or fifth at least.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Mm-hmm.
The beings who have been here before were peaceful. They were harmonious with their environment. They, the way that they lived was, to promote the planet, to help the planet, to give back. So to be one of those beings and looking at what the humans are doing, it would spark interest, but it would also spark, no, I don't want to use fear, but, a worry, like, okay, we need to watch these ones closely. You know, because, I mean, until our sun, until the sun, expires, Earth is going to be here. And,
I think we've got an estimated, 500 billion years left or something like that. So we've got a wee while.
But these, being a being, here from back then, it would, the way that things are looking would become worrisome.
Yes.
All the rampant violence, just as one thing, just the rampant violence, I'm getting that, I can't remember what movie it's from, but, one of the things in the movie turns to the other and says, "When we make it, as humans," and the other said, I don't remember what the other said, but the whole idea, are they going to make it? Are humans going to be, become, what the Earth would need, for us to be stable and be here.
Yeah. Dakota?
Anybody else hearing the voices right now?
I can hear tones. I can hear the tones playing. But I didn't want to say none. Because I just thought, just go with it. I knew I'd just go with it, to be purely honest with you.
I hear there's like when everything is quiet, there's like the TV static type of noise, and I'm hearing little things going through that.
I don't know what tones they are. I don't know if it's like what's the one that goes do 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 do. That's the one that I'm hearing, and it's the one with the CE5. Yeah.
Crop circle tones.
Yeah. It's the one that's going do 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 do. The one that goes really fast. You know the one I'm talking about. Yeah. I think they know we're talking about them.
Yeah.
They know we're talking about them. Yeah.
But there is definitely, something going on with Antarctica. Now I don't know, like, there's lots of different sides to it. Whether the Nazis are, came down and are working with them to, fulfill their thing, or if they came in and was like, hey, you don't need to be here, and leave, you got kicked out.
See, that's interesting, right? A lot of people think the Nazis were working with them because they had the Nazi bell, right? We've got an image here of the Nazi. I've got two images here. We've got the Nazi bell. Everybody knows this, right? It's notorious throughout the UFO circles, right? And it's quite interesting to bring this up. There's a better one here. Obviously, these are artist astrolations. They're not actually the real deal. I wish I had the real one. But it makes me wonder, right? America sent a task force, right? And the task force came back, what was left of it, because it had been attacked. But what happens if it wasn't the Nazis that attacked them? What happens if it was the people that live under the ground, under the ice? What happens if the Nazis did go there, but let's face it, they were defeated because of World War II and stuff, right? The Americans went there because they maybe found something in Germany. Let's face it, there was a lot of scientists defected to the Russian side and the American side. The Americans were obviously the first ones to get their hands on these people, right? They found evidence. The Americans have sent them there, and they've been basically told to go away. They've went, no, we're staying. We've got technology. Obviously, they didn't know what they had, and it's went pear-shaped for them. And this question's for both of you. What's your opinions on this?
What a lot of people don't realize. Let's go with the Aryan depictions that Hitler was allegedly trying to create this master Aryan race.
Yes.
Tall, blonde hair, blue eyes, even though he was brunette with brown eyes himself. But
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously, you may think of this as ramblings of a madman, and yes, they have found that Hitler was under the influence most of the time of wartime narcotics, methamphetamines, which were often used to allow the troops to stay awake for longer periods of time. Obviously, for how long they would stay awake, there's also known periods of when psychosis, hallucinations, all that fun stuff, often what, say, like Foo Fighters are tossed aside as just wartime hallucinations. If they were hallucinations, why are they showing up on camera? Number one.
Yes.
Number two, we have got to get rid of these racial biases because we are starting to frame them into the ET circles. And I say this because the Aryans, the tall whites, we make the assumption that any person of color could probably verify on this planet that just because it's white don't mean it's going to be nice. Certain traits will talk about, say, Craig Campobasso. He wrote the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac. He'll actually be back on the show in October. He talks of renegade Pleiadians, basically a faction that broke off from Mainford to serve the Greys, reptilians, and all of them. There's also talks of Pleiadian civil war because one faction wanted to break off, join the Greys. It is widely speculated that that is who some of the Nazis were dealing with. And yes, they worked together. However, whatever deals they made fell through. Possibly the Nazis could not fulfill their end of the bargain, and that's why they started to lose the war.
Yeah. What's your thoughts?
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you really think about it, I've always believed that, that our history is being rewritten. Even as we speak, it's being rewritten. So the true stories aren't necessarily the ones we read in our history books. I definitely feel that, I'm going to go and say that I don't feel that the Nazis hung out down in Antarctica. I mean, they may have stayed there for just a little bit, but I feel that they were sent back because of the ideologies that they possessed, and it wasn't the I'm tripping up my words. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
It just wasn't the right right way that the right thing that they want, that these beings that lived in Antarctica wanted to go with.
Yeah.
And when the U.S. sent their ships down there, it said that they were attacked by sound. They weren't attacked by weapons. They weren't attacked by missiles, guns, anything that would say that there's some type of human military base there. They were deterred away by sound that sank quite a few of the ships.
Yeah. I find that very interesting. I mean, they don't see a lot of people, right? A lot of people say they came up against a fleet of this, right? Submarines and UFOs with German flags on it. I don't believe that. I don't believe it was that type of UFOs. I do believe you're right, Aaron. I think it was them that they went there for a reason. Their purpose was technology. They wanted the technology. They obviously found it. Let's look at the facts. The Nazis, before the start of the war, sent an expedition there, right? What did they find there, right? They brought some of it back. The Germans were dabbling with the Nazi Bell and other kind of things, right? Okay. The end of the war, the scientists are like, who do we go to? Do we go to the Russian side or do we go to the American side? The Americans come first, right? They go with them. They're like, oh, there's technology there, but I don't want prosecuted for all the Jews that are murdered and stuff like that, right? I find sign this. They've went there thinking they're going to find riches of technologies that they can control the world with, and they've came across these people or these beings, whoever they are, and they've basically went, no, go away. And they've went, no, and they've attacked each other, obviously, right? That's what I honestly think's happened. And that's why to this very day, they've never go back there. Well, they're still there, but why did they not let any other people go there? Why is it a no-fly zone? Why? In this modern era that we've got. Which is, it's very interesting because you remember everybody wears smartwatches now, but remember that the Fitbits they were called, they were all their age. They're the GPS tracking. Right, you probably know what I'm going to talk about here. There was actually this guy, I looked it up, this is a couple of years ago, and it was in Antarctica on Google Maps. It was near this zone where this pyramid's meant to be seen, right? And he noticed something strange. He noticed, like, lines, GPS tracks, underneath the ice, going in different directions, right? Do you know what that was? All US troops in Antarctica during that year, 2000, I think it was 12, 13, all had the Fitbit GPS straps on. Yeah. And that was under the ice. It wasn't above the ice. It was under the ice. So what is buried there? Is there a gateway? And that's for both of you guys. Aaron, if you want to go first, or Dakota.
Alright, go first.
There definitely could be, like a Stargate.
Yeah.
Down there, there's so much speculation on what is underneath the ice. What are we not seeing? What are we not becoming privy to?
Yeah. Dakota?
You have to realize, when expeditions are organized to Antarctica, military, scientific research, and I've seen this for myself, there was a time period where I was actually supposed to go down there for an environmental mission, but that fell through. And there's been a couple of military insiders who were dispatched to bases in Antarctica who are all saying the same thing. So basically, they're told that if you think you see something, shut up.
Yeah.
Say nothing. And there's been times where they would, allegedly military officers would see entire fleets just flying about to seemingly random mountaintops as if they were looking for something. So something's down there. And given that Antarctica is probably several thousand years older than we actually anticipated, because, and like you said, there's pyramids down there, there's entire structures, there's traces of ancient civilizations down there. There could very well be several different major discoveries that, up until more recently, we haven't been able to get to, just because of all the ice. But now that everything's melting off, who knows what's going to come out.
See, I've got a theory. Here, and this will probably get flagged for this. So they'll take notice here, right? I think the answer is in plain sight. I don't think there was Nazis there, right? I think maybe during the war they maybe had some technology, right? But I think the answer's in plain sight. I think there is a gateway of some kind. There's an entrance of some kind. There's something there that they don't want us to find. And you get the flat earthers saying, oh yeah, there's a big giant wall and there's the dome and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think it's Nazis. The Nazis had went there and they'd brought stuff back, right? They brought stuff back I mean, let me show you something, right? This is what the Germans at the end of the war, 1945, right? This kind of explains it. The Germans were building this. This is obviously one of the weapons of mass destruction, was the bomb. It took off and into the atmosphere, came back, and then blew up in London, right? But here's what the Americans captured in Berlin, which I find very interesting. I mean, that's obviously a model, right? But they found this, right? And you had the Nazi bell. I mean, I think the answer's in plain sight. I agree with you, Anne. I think there's something there. Anne?
To be honest, I want to switch real quick to the Nazi, the bell and the disc.
Yes.
So during the disc. Before World War II and during, the Nazis really were going towards the metaphysical, the occult, anything like, they did a whole thing for the Ark of the Covenant. They did a whole thing for the Spear of Destiny or the Spear of Loneliness.
Yes.
So they pulled a lot of their finances into this, psychic, metaphysical, spiritual, occult type of realms. And I've always been interested. I've never followed the Nazi theme or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I've always been interested in the occult stuff, in this, spiritual, metaphysical type of, these type of things. Okay, with that being said, they got the technology that they were basically given scraps, I think, from Command Arc. They brought that back. They took it apart and built their own. Now fast forward to the end of the war in 1945. And Operation Paperclip.
That's right.
In which, you had mentioned where America, Russia, and South America, a lot of the scientists went to South America too.
That's right.
So, but we got Werner von Braun, who was the main architect to design the V2 rocket. I need a much better microphone.
Get a wiggle.
I hope this helps.
That's actually better.
But so during Operation Paperclip, we got a lot of German scientists who were renowned in this field. People like Werner von Braun, who helped us get not only to space but to the moon first. Now shortly after the war ended. What, March? I think, was it March
1945? Yeah, 1945. Yeah.
A few months after that, we have the Roswell incident.
Yes.
In which is basically right in the vicinity of what we call Area 51.
There was other sightings, though. I've actually researched the Roswell thing, and there was other sightings of strange objects in the sky after the nuclear detonation, the very first detonation, which I think set alarm bells off for our friends. Yeah,
the advancement of nuclear weapons definitely sent a red flag off, and that's when in the 50s you get into the Commander Valiant Thor story.
Yes.
And what that was in regards to. But I think that we got a lot of the technology that we de-engineered and re-engineered, which was the disc and the bell, because in 1969, in rural Pennsylvania, the same looking aircraft,
That's right.
Bell,
Last.
fell and crashed into rural Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, a lot of people think it was a Nazi bell, but what happens if it wasn't? What happens if it wasn't a Nazi bell? What happens if it was a U.S. military, something that the U.S. military had built? See, I think that the Americans are the ones that have got the most out of this, right? I just think that the Germans witnessed it. That's all I think it is. They've witnessed this. They've went back and they've maybe got some technology, you know?
Well, Chris, there was one UFO incident in the Black Forest of Germany that a lot of people don't realize happened in 1936, the Black Forest UFO crash.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't realize. 1936, Black Forest, for those of you who follow Brothers Grimm, that's where a lot of their stories took inspiration from. This is possibly the incident that flagged the ET elements, basically brought it up to the Nazi parties. They knew about this incident. They recovered materials from it. That's what likely started off this, what allowed the U.S. to have a space program, essentially, as Aaron just pointed out.
Right. It rings a bell, that. It does ring a bell, that. Is that place no got another name? Is it no called the Valley of the Dead or something like that? Because it's an unusual location in Russia. Because people will no go there because they get
Germany.
Right, so it's the Black Forest, Germany.
It's in Germany.
Germany. Wasn't this the event where two military guys were like saw something in the woods and they left their post and went out and looked?
Oh no, that was actually in London. We were in Chris. Remember when we went on with UFO Man? We talked about this one.
We talked about Ranger and Forest in the UK. Yeah, that was in the UK, and it was in 1980. Everybody in the chat, help me out here. It was in the 1980s. I know that, or the early 90s. And it was
fairly recent, all things considered. But.
Yeah, it was two guards, U.S. military guards, and they seen the glowing red orb going through. The guy that described it, I watched an interview, and he said it was like it was like a tennis ball, and it was just red, and it was just floating through the woods. And he went up to it, and it shot away, and then something else appeared, and it was like this big, black, weird triangle that just appeared from nowhere. And when the guy touched it like downloaded something into his head. Like you know what I'm talking about? It was like all zeros and ones and binary codes. Yeah. Honestly, see, here's the thing, right? Going back to the Germans, right? I think the Germans didn't get any technology, and this is the supernatural realm, which we should do a part 2 in this actually, because you'll have to come back on Aaron, because we'll do the part 2 of this, because we'll do the kind of supernatural side of stuff and all the occult work that the Nazis did, because that stuff is dark, because human sacrifices and stuff like that. But here, let me show you this, right? Now, what I'm thinking is, right, this was 1944. It was the Russians captured it just as obviously the line was getting pushed back, right? It's in the shape of a saucer, right? Now this one here it's actually a mock-up. It's not real. It's a mock-up. Hey, look. Okay, I mean the Nazis, what they had. But what I'm trying to say is, right, is the Germans didn't get really any technology. They witnessed it and they were using it. But the Americans, come on, let's face it, guys. The Americans are amazing. Your government has probably got everything's stashed away somewhere. The truth.
Because of what we got from the Germans.
Yes, but what did we get from the Germans? Because why we maybe got some information, right? We maybe got a wee bit of information saying, oh, there's an ancient civilization lives in Antarctica under the ice, right? And they've maybe said, oh, here's a map, right? Then the Americans have went. And they've got a wee bit more than they asked for. They've got half their fleet sunk. Agree with me? They've had half their fleet sunk. Because I was actually watching it tonight, the Terran aircraft carrier, and they lost it. Yeah. I mean, the war with the Germans was going so well. And then all of a sudden it just went downhill. And it's true what you say about the Palladians and stuff, Dakota. It's like somebody was helping them, but did that person, whoever they were, disappeared? Is that what went wrong? Because it just all went pear-shaped for them. Admit it. It just went all totally pear-shaped for them. And it was like the Americans and the British, we all had the upper hand. Aaron, would you like to go?
The Germans, history says that the Germans just spread themselves too thin. And that's what that's what I remember in my history book when I was like in fourth grade. I definitely feel that it could be, these beings just pulled away. I also feel that, I feel that it could be that, the Germans just found the technology and something told them to go check the Antarctica about it, like, the crash in the Black Forest. And they're like, okay, we need to find more of this. Where do we go? Well, where have we never gone before? Let's go to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been something as simple as that.
You receiving something there, Dakota?
Holy shit! Oh, I gotta research this. This one.
47 exactly. What was it?
No, it's not that. A lot of the Nazi occult interest came from the Vril Society. You see references of it all the time in media. I mean, Supernatural even did a bit where the Fool Society tried bringing back Hitler.
That's right.
Yes, I'll admit, I was refreshing my memory on certain details, but notes from the Vril Society's book, the main medium that started the entire movement, figures it's a beautiful blonde woman that caused all this trouble. Last week when we had Aaron on, I said I saw that. Probably but I said I saw mental flash of what looked like a metallic concave disc that had a bit of a moon shape to it, and it brought up all this. That's matching a lot of the same manuscript that medium wrote out for the Vril Society. Tracing Enochian, ancient Babylonian. I gotta look into this now.
I never downloaded it, and I should have downloaded it. I was searching through the research for this tonight, and I came across it was a soldier. I think it was a British soldier. He witnessed something coming over the hull. It was in 1943. And it was like a half-moon UFO with like a section missing out the front, and it just came over the hull, and it hovered, and it went straight up and went.
Are you telling me I was dealing with Nazis? Nazi aliens?
Oh my God, that's that. You've been dealing with Nazis. That's that. You've been watching too much of that movies. Was it Nazis in the Moon or something like that?
No, I haven't been. I don't even have Wolfenstein.
I keep hearing their tones. I'll tell you this now. I can still hear their tones.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing voices through it.
It's not the voices I'm getting. It's the beep, 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 beep.
I'm getting
That's
voices.
what I'm getting.
Not playing it here.
You know, I've got my YouTube one. You know, it's
A lot of it seems to be coming from Aaron's
freaky.
side.
Hmm.
Here.
I think
Hearing the space around me.
what's this you've got to quote?
I mean, look.
Ooh.
Look, this is taken out of the Bro Society handbook, okay? I'll admit, mine's kind of rushed, cursive, doctor scribbles. Look at that. Then look at mine. Awfully similar.
Yeah, the structures, the words.
Going by handwriting analysis, mine, obviously somebody who was in a rush.
Yeah. So what does it all say?
I haven't had a chance to sit down to work on translations.
Oh,
I've even reached out to a couple colleagues of mine to work on that.
There.
I'm getting it. There's no way we're going to be able to squeeze all that into an hour-long episode.
I know, but it's just, there's just so much information there in this subject. That's why I think we need to do a part 2 of this, because we need to bring up the secret societies that Hitler was mixed up in. I mean, some of the stuff, you'll ken Aaron, some of the stuff was so dark.
Aaron brought it up a little bit. There was a heavy study, especially after Project Paperclip and a lot of the German scientists came over, into the occult. If nothing came of this, and the following projects, like Project Stargate as an example, and all the projects underneath that name, why are there patents for psychic blocking technology?
Exactly.
And there's allegedly, bases like Area 51 as an example. People try to astral project, but something shocks them back into their body.
Yeah. There is definitely something to it, because obviously us three here, we've done all that kind of stuff, the astral projection stuff. Aaron's done it, you've done it, Dakota, and I've done it, Dakota, and there is something to it. People in the chat will pull it up, what they're talking about. But honestly, guys, you need to prepare yourself when you do try this kind of stuff.
If you look up the Braille Society, but just let you know there is a naked woman involved in this.
Well, what's that in the chat?
Fool Society.
Fool Society.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Maybe that's who's running the world. Maybe that's that,
Isn't it scary that a fucking Captain America movie is pretty much dictating what we're talking about right now?
Yeah.
There was also the Christ Circle.
There's a what?
The Society, the Christ Circle, and there was another one. And that I did learn that from playing the game Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I'm just going to see if I can download something here. Oh, you just keep talking amongst you. I'm just going to see if I can download. It's an overlay.
I'm not judging, Aaron. I learned how to make my own CE5 tones from playing Doom.
Right? Yeah, I'm a gamer by heart, and I have always loved games, but when Wolfenstein 3D came out, and that was really where I started to explore the Nazi occult stuff. And now this was back in 91, 92 tops, but that's where I really the Nazis were working for to make these mutant type and super soldiers or super Sodats, and all these things, and that was, to be honest, that was the start of my digging in for the to what they found, and of course the history of this is all mucked up. So you're going to find a lot of propaganda within it. You're going to find a lot of false or fake stuff within it, and you've got to weed through. There are tons of books on the Nazi cult and Nazi cultism, and in every facet that they put in. But a lot of it is either filled with just jargon or it's filled with just stuff that isn't necessarily true.
You'll find.
Well, here's the thing. A recurring thing when it comes. Actually,
you go, sorry.
I just remembered something.
What?
A lot of people don't realize that especially what's on here in the U.S., was initiated by the Rockefeller Foundation. Now, say like modern day feminism, women entering into the workforce, Rockefellers pushed that initiative because they didn't like that the women weren't getting taxed for their income. Then they took on public schools. They also bought the official public record of the historical events of the Second World War and aided in suppressing Admiral Byrd's mission to Antarctica. So this is something I pointed out a few shows back, that not a lot of people realize. Yes, there's certain international laws for crimes against its own population that obviously people would think Germany was the first country to ever get prosecuted. No, the Germans were the reason why those laws were created. It was the U.S. that is also still going through several of those international law cases to this day that obviously you're not going to hear about because they keep losing those cases.
You can feel free to bring up some of the pictures, Dakota. I'm just downloading them. That was some of the societies that I downloaded. Where are we? I was researching them. You'll find it quite interesting.
Of course, we got to go through all of these on the last few minutes of the episode.
Well, this is what people can look forward to in the part 2 of this. I mean...
Yeah, Knights Templars.
It wasn't just the Knights Templars. I mean, that's quite an interesting one. Yeah, that's
Hitler was a huge UFO fanatic. That's all we got to say.
Yeah.
And look, clearly he used his resources and found something.
Yeah, I mean, he used his resources. He thought it was going to help him win the war. It didn't help him win the war. But what did it do for the United States and the rest of the world?
It gave more firepower actually because the Germans, the Nazis, they didn't want to go like what we call the military-industrial complex was already situated in in the world before World War II. We're going, that was situated back in the 1800s, and that group that we talked about in the last show, that worked with the Darkers, the ones trying to hold on to this, to all this, this technology and stuff. The Germans were like, they didn't want to have any part of that. They didn't, they just wanted to win the war. They didn't care about hiding secrets. They didn't care about, about any of that. And that's where I think, that's where I want to say that, that was one of the downfalls of Nazi Germany. Was that, hey, we found this technology, we de-engineered it and re-engineered it, and we're going to use it. Like, the Nazis were the first ones to have jet engines. Americans were, Americans and Allies were still working with the propeller engines for planes. It's just that, the problem with the Germans is that instead of testing it, they just threw it out. They built it, and here you go, get in this and go do that. Here, get in this, and so there wasn't any testing. There wasn't any, it was trial and error by and that's another reason why the Nazis didn't win the war. They had the technology, they just didn't.
They had it, they didn't have the manpower to admit. I'll admit that. The manpower, it's we'll have to follow this up onto season 2. I think we'll have to do it. I think we'll have to do part 2 of this, to be honest with you, because you coming back for part 2, Anne? As we dive deep into the kind of darker side of stuff. We've got a couple of videos I want to show you tonight, guys, before we go off. The first
Mr.
video,
Aaron here may have caused a UFO sighting.
Yeah, I think this one is it. The second show, the 129 one, was what night was that? That was the night. That was the night.
Scottish
That was
Outlooker?
no. This is the first. This is the one with Sherry. This is the
Can you
one
see those?
after the Moonblade.
It keeps going in and out. There's like weird lights going around them. Can you see that? Like one of them's disappeared now. I don't know if you can... Look, it's back again. Now they're like above each other and there's one at the side of it. It's getting brighter. Like they're hovering and that one at the bottom's moving. So if we can bring it in a bit. Oh wow. It's not the street lamp because the street lamp's over here. This is over here. Now it's gone. Now it's back. What is that? It's gone. Oh, wow. Look, it's moving. That's what I'm saying, guys.
That was done just after the show with Anne last week. The show ended, Sherry let her dog out, and she looked up and seen that.
It's absolutely amazing. You sent that to me, and I'm just like, wow. Like I did not know what to say. I mean, that's beautiful.
Yeah. The other one we've got here was done last night. His name's Scottish Outlooker. He stays in a place called Lismahago. He captured this one. The first one I think is an aircraft, but the second one is quite unusual. Dakota, do you want to play it?
I'm sorry, I was just trying to run Sherry's video through.
Can you see?
Upon watching that one, I automatically got it was coming into our dimension and going out, and it's coming in, going out.
Yeah.
Coming in, going out.
The one that breaks off to the side, I do think it's an aircraft, right? But the one here, the one with the wee star, That was being watched. Yeah, that was fantastic.
The one that was blinking and as that was moving off the camera followed.
Yeah.
I feel that was it. Kind of reminded me of a SpaceX satellite. They do that for our house all the time.
Quite unusual to fly over Scotland. I've no seen any yet. Over Scotland. So we are close to the airport, though. We are close to the airport, Glasgow Airport. So that's what I'm thinking. It's maybe that one that was flashing was a passenger plane coming into land, but the other one was just sitting there, and you could see it changing.
Yeah.
Fantastic Scottish Outlooker. Thank you for sending us that, Dakota.
Sorry, just got the enhancements on Sherry's video come through. It looks like you can actually make some details out on the craft.
Mm-hmm. Can you bring it up for us really quickly?
Oh, I'm probably going to have to do it a certain way here. Hold on. Let's see if it'll let me do it like this.
See those weird two objects. It keeps going in and out. There's like weird lights going around them. Can you see that? Like one of them's disappeared now.
Wish I could load this up.
I don't know if you can... Look, it's back again. Now they're like above each other and there's one at the side of it. It's getting brighter. Like they're hovering and that one at the bottom's moving. See if we can bring it in a bit. Oh, wow. It's not the street lamp, because the street lamp's over here. This is over here. Now it's gone. Now it's back. What is that? It's gone. Oh, wow. Look, it's moving. That's what I'm saying, guys.
Very interesting, that.
Absolutely wonderful. Both of them are just...
Yeah.
Does it kind of look like that?
It does look. Who's
that? They're listed in this one as Sasani. They're supposed to be from an alternate reality 300 years into our future. They look a bit like that.
Mm.
This is actually a MUFON endorsed book. You can also get it on the Bald and Bonkers store.
Yes.
Gotta throw a plug in there.
Before we end the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing a second part to this, and I would like to thank Anne, Elf Moonblade, for coming on. And we will be back. Dakota, do you have any plugs tonight? Do you want to show tonight? Get that poster or something? You're bringing t-shirts or something?
Well, I was supposed to do it last night, but someone just can't.
Okay,
Anyway, so
that's me too.
like we were saying before, we do want to thank everybody who has been joining us. All of our channels have been getting surprising number boosts that are blowing us away. We're almost to monetization on YouTube. We have even more incredible guests getting ready to come on board because we have all those numbers. So I do want to say thank you. Unfortunately, when you start to go down certain paths in life and you start to actually become successful, and anybody who's been in a field or any field for a while knows that tends to make people reflect negatively about themselves. And then on social media, they may try to use profiles where they don't use their real name or show their real face. Just start trying to spread hate. And you know what? And there's unfortunately too many people that jump on this bandwagon because they just want to gossip and it's only really a self-reflection on their part. It says more about them when they spread this gossip. Because and over here has gotten some to where people who looked at it can't help but wonder if that person trying to spread that hate is an ex-girlfriend. And I'm saying that honestly. It's that stupid.
Jesus Christ, man, no.
And I know they watch our videos and try to dislike every single one, so I know they're watching, and I hope you get pissed. So I decided, got a little inspired to make this. And don't worry, the version that goes out on children's stuff, the swear words are blurred out.
Yeah, I honestly, it's just folk like that. Jealousy. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the reason I would just like to say this, the reason our views are going up, right, is because after the show's uploaded, it goes, the people that share our stuff out for us, this goes out to a different network where there's a lot of like UFO people and a lot of ghost hunting people, instantly hit it. And yes, they're real. So there you go. You know.
Yeah.
So
I'll put in this word for Dakota. Here's the thing. When people talk, whatever they talk, it isn't any of our business, but it keeps our names in their mouth, right?
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Keep spreading the publicity.
Yeah.
Eventually, what a lot of these people don't seem to realize is that when you go to talk negatively about somebody, even if you get those who try to jump on that bandwagon and say, "Oh yeah, Chris is such an idiot," blah 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 blah. It's someone's birthday coming up. I got something for coming up here soon. But anyway.
Yeah, it's my birthday. It's my birthday coming up. Yeah.
No.
Next Monday.
Even then, they're gonna go home. They're gonna sit back and wonder, what's all this about? And they're gonna Google it, which boosts our search engine optimization. It keeps us in their head, and then maybe when they're not in that such of a heated state where mob mentality kicks in, which is a big thing when it comes to social media, they might enjoy it.
Yeah. But you know something? I was hand out the hand of friendship, and hopefully one day they can see the light, and maybe one day they can be friends again, and they can come back, and we can all be friends again. So there you go. Yeah.
Because this type of hate, it ain't good for the health, people. Come on.
Yeah.
We already got people dropping from heart attacks nowadays.
Yeah,
but we're not talking about why.
You never know. One of these days I might help you get out there and meet all these interesting people that I've ran into. You only need to ask me, and I can push somebody in your way. But anyway, Dakota, thank you for the show tonight. I think it was excellent, and everybody in the chat, thank you, and new subscribers today, and everybody that watches this afterwards, because it's getting uploaded onto the other network kind of thing where we get the views from, which is amazing. Thank you. So, catch you all later, and see you all soon.
Bye. Where'd that video go? Okay, there it is.